Since graduating from Stanford Law School, I've been practicing law for over 40 years. I've agreed to appear in this video and to risk my own personal professional career because I decided I could no longer stand idly by and watch the assembly line of injustice being perpetrated upon American families by the federal and state governments. The media and social commentators have been up in arms of late about the separation of immigrant children from their non-U.S. citizen parents at the Mexican border by the federal government. Federal statistics show that from July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2018, approximately 1,556 immigrant children were separated from their parents at the border. However, federal statistics also show that during this same time period, approximately 262,956 American citizen children were separated from their American citizen parents by the federal and state governments. Where is the public outcry from the media and social commentators about this destruction of the American family? What you are about to see is the story of one young American mother's tragic encounter with the family court system and children's services in this country.
On January 29th, 2018, I had taken my 6-week-old son to my temple in Culver City when I experienced what I consider to have been an episode of postpartum psychosis. I was manic, however, I was not harming my child or anyone else in any manner. The police were called due to my erratic behavior, and my child was placed with DCFS, the Department of Child and Family Services, while I was placed under a temporary psychiatric hold.
DCFS, or the Department of Children and Family Services, immediately placed Elizabeth's baby with a foster couple under the Foster to Adopt program. Under this program, DCFS promises a young couple that they will ultimately be allowed to adopt a baby placed in their care, even before the matter is heard or decided by a court.
After my baby was taken, I was released from the hospital about a week later. I was prescribed medication which immediately resolved all symptoms of my medical condition. And I went to DCFS thinking that I could immediately get my child back, but that was not the case. What happened next is that for over 2 years I have been trying to get my son back. I have complied with everything that DCFS asked of me. I have stayed on my medication, I have attended parenting classes, and I have visited my son twice a week, every week since that time, which is the most that I am allowed to see him by DCFS. He is now over 2 years old and he hardly knows me. Over the past 2 years, I've experienced a lot of emotions. My heart feels like it's been ripped out of my body. No mother should have her child taken from her by the government or by any other person. I've cried myself to sleep more nights than I can recall, and I feel sick to the pit of my stomach just thinking about it. I have provided an excellent home for my baby. I live in a nice 2-bedroom apartment next door to the Grove in Hollywood, where he would have had his own bedroom. I looked forward to doing my artwork while raising my child. When am I going to get my baby back? I don't think I'm ever going to get him back. The court is set to terminate my rights in 2 weeks.
Although Elizabeth did everything that the government said she had to do to get her child back, DCFS recommended that the child not be returned to her, that her parental rights be terminated, and that the child be placed for adoption with the foster parents. This recommendation was rubber-stamped by the family court judge. DCFS provided a report to the court setting forth their reasons why Elizabeth's child should not be returned to her. These reasons were as follows, and I quote from the report. Quote, on 2/22/2019, mother was unable to prevent her son from stepping in a pond and getting wet, end quote. As you'll see in the next video clip, this pond that DCFS refers to was actually a children's water play area at a children's park. Another reason given by DCFS for not returning Elizabeth's child to her was, and again I am quoting from the report, quote, on 3/1/2019, caregiver reported that mother let her son play with a sharp stick at the park during his visit. The caregiver, who in this case is the foster mother who was promised the baby for adoption, reported mother disregarded her when she asked her multiple times not to let her son play with sticks, end quote. So the reasons offered by DCFS for not returning Elizabeth's child to her was that she allowed her toddler son to get wet in a children's water play area, and she allowed her son to play with sticks in the park. This is simply outrageous.
This is where I allow my almost 2-year-old son to play with sticks. He's a little boy. Little boys play with sticks. This is where I let my son play in the fountain. As you can see, it's quite shallow.
The real reason why DCFS and the family court are not returning Elizabeth's child to her is because under Section 473A of the Social Security Act, the federal government provides cash incentive payments to states of between $5,000 to $10,000 for each child that the state removes from its parents and places up for adoption rather than returning the child to the parents. This amounts to millions of dollars of cash incentive payments to the states for the destruction of American families. For example, in fiscal year 2018, the state of California received over $7.7 million from the federal government as incentive payments for separating California children from their parents and not returning the children to their parents. What fundamental changes need to be made to stem the tide of injustice? First, the cash incentive payments from the federal government to states for the destruction of American families has to stop, and it has to stop immediately. Secondly, the proceedings pursuant to which the decision is made whether to remove a child from its parents need to be open to the public and to the media. All other court proceedings are public proceedings. Our founding fathers decided long ago that evil thrives in the dark and that court proceedings need to be public. Third, people who are facing the removal of their child need to have the right to a jury trial. Right now, there is no right to a jury trial, and the decision whether to remove the child and place it up for adoption is made by a judge who is an employee of the very same state that stands to receive cash incentive payments from the federal government if the judge decides to remove the child and place it up for adoption. I said at the beginning of this video that I could no longer stand idly by and watch the gross injustice that's being perpetrated upon American families by the federal and state governments. I am hopeful that after seeing a glimpse of the truth in this video, you will come to the same personal conclusion. Your help is desperately needed. I urge you to go to the website to find out what you can do to help. Elizabeth's story is but one story. There are hundreds of thousands of parents with their own stories of tragic encounters with the family courts and social services in this country. I again urge you to go to our website to see what you can do to help.